What's up, everybody? It's Robert Rule of 2 Review, and today it's Nintendo at E3 Part 2, as they finally told us what they're going to do. Alrighty, well, today is a big one. Sorry for the delay in all the videos. I know they've been coming slowly but surely over the last 2 weeks. Just been really busy, as I've said a couple of times on the videos, but as I've also been saying, not to fret, because videos are going to keep on coming, as I've always got something to talk about. And like I said, this is a big one. We have finally, just in the last couple of days, gotten confirmation and a revelation from Nintendo on what they're actually going to be doing at E3 this year, 2014. My actual most popular video that I made just a couple of months ago, which I'm going to link below, was about Nintendo's initial kind of plans, the rumors and rumblings, and sort of theories about what it was they were going to do this year, because as it was well documented, we all know that last year they made an unprecedented move where they opted out of a traditional live press conference and they instead focused on a very E3-centric Nintendo Direct kind of presentation for their stuff. I don't want to retread that stuff. The video I posted below, it's one of my longer ones. It's about 20-25 minutes, but it was a really great conversation discussing what they could and should do. So definitely please check that out. Ultimately, the bottom line was that it was a very controversial kind of move for them to make at the time, and a lot of people had thoughts on different sides of the fence on if it was good or bad. Were they forced to do it? Was it a bad, did it prevent the hype and the sort of spectacle of E3 and yada yada? I touched on all that stuff, so it's very interesting to see. Now, when we come to this year, as I said just a couple of days ago, you probably know this, I meant to record a video earlier, but I've just been too busy, so sorry it took me a couple of days to touch on this topic. I had a lot of requests, actually, people seeming to really get excited to hear me sort of talk about this because of that last video that I made and the fact that, if you know me or follow the channel, you know that I'm a huge Nintendo fan. They are my favorite company, and the Wii U is right now my favorite gaming platform. So I'm really excited to be able to talk about this. They have confirmed that they are still not doing a live press conference. What they're going to do is they're calling it basically a digital event. They're doing it E3 2014. Nintendo, it's a digital event, a digital feature, so to speak. I think it's really cool and sort of interesting that they use that terminology. I think they're trying to separate what it is they're doing and how they're presenting their stuff at E3 this year from the concept of just another regular old Nintendo Direct, and we're bowing out of the live conference arena again just to do this instead, as if it was a cop-out. What I like is how they're sort of spinning this as a very, I don't want to say spinning it, I think this is true, but as far as the media and the gaming public is concerned, they need to spin this positively, and they are. I think they're spinning it as a conscious decision, and not that they're stuck with nothing left to do and nowhere else to go, so why not just do a Nintendo Direct instead? They're saying, this is what we want to do, this is our choice, this is how we are choosing to present everything, and we think it's the right move for these reasons, and you'll see why come E3 time. And that's why I like this. So what I'm going to talk about is basically why, even though there's some unfortunate sides to this and we all probably have some initial doubts, honestly, my personal opinion, I think this is going to turn out to be a really cool thing. Okay, so first and foremost, let's get the bad out of the way. The bad is the obvious. We all probably wanted Nintendo to do an actual live press conference, just like they have always done, just like we know the competition and the other big companies and console manufacturers are going to do. We want Nintendo to compete in that arena that exact same way. As I talked about in that last video, we all, as gamers, as the gaming public, we love the spectacle and the hype of an E3 press conference. We love those times when we get together over a couple of days and we watch streaming from the internet on our computers and our TVs and our mobile devices. We're watching these press conferences. We're waiting, saying to all these companies, wow us. We are ready. Show us something. Get us excited. Make those people in the room that you're in freak out and stand up and cheer. Make us do the same at home in our living rooms and on our couches. That's what we want. We get excited about that stuff, and I am right there with you. As I said, I actually attended E3 in 2004, just as a member of the public, not as a media or anything. And that's the only time I've been. It was the most amazing thing. It was everything you would think it would and could have been. That was also a banner year because Resident Evil 4 was there, Metal Gear Solid 3, Halo 2, which was behind closed doors. We didn't get to play at the time, Metroid Prime 2, Star Fox Assault. I mean, there was so many games there. I actually, by the way, I'm going to gloat for 1 minute. I got to play StarCraft Ghost at that exact event. So I'm really proud to say that. I played it on both the GameCube and the original Xbox. So I did get to touch and play and see in operation StarCraft Ghost before it disappeared into the annals of gaming history, and now we will never see it, sadly. So that was, anyway. So E3 was great. I've experienced it. I understand what makes it great as a gamer and as someone who now does news reporting. I don't want to say reporting like I'm a journalist. I do commentary, I guess, on news stuff because I think it's interesting and I think you guys care about it. So as a gamer, I appreciate that. As a Nintendo fan, I've watched Nintendo own some of the best moments of E3 ever in the entire history of the show. They are a pinnacle and a staple of the show. They've been around since its inception, back when it was kind of CES, and then they branched off and E3 became its own thing. Way back in the day, for you young gamers who probably wouldn't even know this, but Nintendo used to do their own event every year called Space World. That was fantastic. I think that was where they first revealed the Wind Waker for the GameCube, when everyone was shocked to see the cartoony route that they were taking and all that stuff. And the first demo for Zelda before we saw it was the Wind Waker the year before. I think that was Space World 2000. And so that these kinds of shows, what I'm trying to get at is we care about them and they're important. And it's sad to know that last year it was unfortunate that Nintendo didn't do a live press conference. This year, it's unfortunate that Nintendo didn't do a live press conference. What I want to remind everyone before I move on to the positive stuff is, don't forget that last year, even though it was sad that they only did a Nintendo Direct, I still maintain the content they showed us was great. They gave us great reveals of great games and a little bit more information. We saw Mega Man, we saw Bayonetta, we saw X, we saw what Mario Kart and Mario 3D World were going to be. You can't deny the excellence of the content. It certainly is just not exciting, and that is what they lack. Now this year, I think it's going to be different because I think that they've basically fixed and maybe decided on a better formula, and they've realized now how they can still show us all this great content and make us feel excited about it. Okay, so I've done my part to play the devil's advocate. Even though I'm a fanboy, and I admit it, I'm trying not to be the wrong kind of fanboy, because I think there is a right kind of fanboy and a wrong kind of fanboy. I don't want to be an apologist, and I don't want to say that it's the greatest thing in the world that they're not doing a press conference and yada yada. It is sad. It is unfortunate. And as of right now, right here, today, this year, 2014, I would have still preferred an actual traditional live press conference. I would have. So I'm on your side in that respect for any of you who feel that way. But at the same time, I think there are some really big, bold, and cool things happening here with what they're trying to do. And yes, because I believe in Nintendo, I think a lot of the things that they try to do are good ideas. But I think even stepping outside of that box, I like to think that I see the other positive side about this. Also, I am a Nintendo fan. I have no problem admitting it. I'm actually proud to say it. Hell yes, I'm a Nintendo fan. So I want to see the good when decisions like this are made. And I feel like there's something very justifiably awesome happening here. So when we think about what it is we know they're doing, let me kind of go over some of the details that you probably know about what this digital event is supposed to be. The thing that they've been the most public about so far is the Smash Brothers tournament that's happening live streaming throughout the show of E3, I think across all 3 days. They have 16 of the world's best Smash Brothers fighters coming to play. I don't know if they're going to be playing Brawl or if they're going to be playing the new Smash Brothers, but there's going to be, of the 16 best players, a Smash Brothers tournament. It is going to be streaming on the internet. It is going to be happening live, and I think that it's over the course of a few days. I think this whole digital event actually is happening over the course of a few days. That in and of itself is pretty cool, but they're going to be doing that. Also, last year, Nintendo did do something awesome that I don't think enough people talked about, even though it was wildly successful. Like, the hype kind of went away after a period, but they had these E3 booths basically set up in Best Buys across the country that I and one of my best friends actually went and visited and experienced, where people were able to play Mario 3D World and Mario Kart, and also see all this cool footage of things like X and, Wind Waker at the time, Wind Waker HD and stuff like that at the time. It was awesome. And there was Nintendo rep there, and they had this whole thing set up, and you had to sign and log in just to be able to get in line to play stuff. I mean, where we went, there were so many people. It was almost like being at an E3 show floor. It was great. There was so much success with what they did, and they're doing that again this year with Smash Brothers, with what could potentially be the biggest game amongst all 3 platforms this year, the new Smash Brothers, the console Smash Brothers. You can go to Best Buys this year during the 3 days of E3, and you can play the new Smash Brothers at Best Buy. That is freaking badass. I mean, that is so cool. And that is one of the first steps in why I think that what Nintendo is doing with this digital event is the first step in a slow evolution of how information and surprises and announcements are going to start coming to us from E3. I stand by that. I think this could be the genesis of something really cool that will become the future. And I think that it's even if you're not a Nintendo fan, and even if you're not like a Smash Brothers fan or something, for example, I think that it's impossible to deny how cool it is to do something like this and how it's neat to see a company try to connect with its fans and gamers this way, to do something so immersive, to try to say, and Nintendo has used this exact phrase before, we want to bring the E3 experience to you, to those across the country and across the world who don't get to do it here in LA every year. And that is freaking cool. I mean, I now I like Sony and Microsoft, but let's say I didn't like any of the three companies. If a company I didn't like did this, I guarantee you, I would personally still be like, hell yes, that is so cool. I wish the companies I did like would do that. And if you're not a Nintendo fan, I would hope that you could still say, wow, I don't like Nintendo, but that is cool that they're doing that. Sony's my favorite company. I wish Sony would do that. You know, I wish Valve would do it. I wish Microsoft would have you. And so, again, I'll get to the larger point where I do think that down the road, everyone will start doing this, but that's amazing. And I really want Nintendo to get some credit and some props for this, because, I mean, that's just so amazing to be able to be willing to bring one of the biggest games, their flagship title for 2014, and say, bam, you can all play it. Experience E3, even though you can't make it to E3. So there's the Smash Brothers tournament, and there's the Smash Brothers being brought live and playable to gamers across the country at Best Buy. That's amazing. That's cool in and of itself. But of course, what about the press conference? What about the announcements, the surprises, the games, the footage, the trailers, all that good shit? We want to eat it up. When, and how can we get it? So this digital event encompasses more than just the Smash Brothers stuff. They are also going to be having actual announcements. I think that what they're doing, this digital event, covers tons of live feed footage throughout all 3 days of the show. I do know that I think 9 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, June 10th, sorry, I know my dates, June 10th, basically the first day of the show floor, which is the date and time that initially Nintendo would have been having a live press conference where they have been doing it. They're going to have their initial first main presentation for their digital event. That is going to happen, again, Tuesday, June 10th, 9 Eastern time, basically, you know, in California, LA, where they have this. Pacific time. So we know that that's when they're going to do that. So we're going to be able to tune in and watch live footage, hopefully for about an hour or so, where they're going to show us a bunch of stuff. Trust me, with the buzz and hype and everything going on, we know that they have a lot of things to talk about. I think they're going to show us major surprises this year. One of the things we know is coming, let's not forget this huge thing, is Zelda. They have confirmed, it is confirmed, Zelda, the console, HD, Wii U, next-gen Zelda is going to be there. So we don't know how much they're going to show. We don't know if they're going to do a Skyward Sword kind of thing before where they just show us a picture one year and say, look for it next year. I hope they don't do that, but even that will be exciting. Hopefully they're going to give us a trailer, footage, interviews. Who knows? Maybe even someone playing the game. Who knows? But we're going to see Zelda. That's exciting. I think we're going to see Retro's next game or hear about it. I think we're going to see Retro's new IP. We're going to see Miyamoto's new IP. So right there, that's 4 huge things that could be just brand new stuff. Not to mention showing us Bayonetta, showing us X, giving us dates for some of that stuff, concrete dates for Smash Brothers Wii U, some other, you know, there'll probably be some casual stuff, and we can't forget the 3DS stuff. There's going to be a lot of stuff all around. But that's so much new stuff right there, and for stuff we already know is coming out. Maybe they're going to show us how Watch Dogs and the Wii U is going to be coming along, because it's been confirmed that all sorts of great things are happening with that. So there's a lot of stuff for them to show us. So that's the initial event on the first day of E3, June 10th. But of course, there's going to be stuff, I think, throughout the entire 3 days that they're going to be showing us. Something else that you don't typically get from the other companies. What you do get is you get websites and media coverage that will be talking to people, showing us cool coverage from all three consoles, for PC stuff, and from different developers showing off their titles. So that's great. That's the typical stuff we usually see, and that's exciting. But this is something coming directly from one of the main competitors, the main developers, one of the biggest players, like, you know, arguably the biggest player in the industry and the oldest, most time-tested player in the industry. And they're going to be doing their own personal stuff right to the gamer, right to us via the internet and streaming for the 3 days of the show. Very, very cool. So we get the initial reveal, the initial presentation of who knows what kind of good, happy stuff, and then 3 days of coverage afterwards, which could be more games, could be more surprises, probably going to be lots of interviews about stuff, developer commentaries, and we, of course, are also getting 3 days of a Smash Brothers tournament. So there's a lot of cool things happening there. So, you know, like I said, Nintendo fan or not, hopefully that stuff does excite you. So really, this brings me to the main point of the video and what it is that I was really excited to talk about, and I've touched on it already. what I really need to drive home to people is just my personal opinion. I'm not stating anything as fact, and I don't want to try to sway or persuade anybody, but I want to present my opinion for you to maybe think about and ponder in case you haven't already thought about it. I wholeheartedly believe that this very well could be, and the key word is could be, not definitely, but could be the beginning of how this stuff will start to come to us down the road. I think that over the next couple of years, all the different manufacturers and developers and the big companies that put on press conferences every year are going to start to see the benefit to this. Most especially if this is seen as successful. If Nintendo can really pull through with this, and if they can really show we know what people want, we know what stuff they want to see from us. We appreciate that after all this time, people still love us, and we're still one of the biggest, most respected developers and hardware manufacturers in the industry. And we have things to show. We're making Zelda. We're making Metroid. Our 3DS is kicking ass. Our Wii U is going to start to kick ass. Look at this new game that Miyamoto's making. Look at the Smash Brothers tournament. Look at this new thing. Look at that. Look at this new thing. Look at this thing you already know you love, and here's more of it. You know, they knock this out of the park, even kind of knock it out of the park this year, then people are going to see the benefit. And there are a couple of reasons why. Here's why. One, first and foremost, it's cheaper. Part of the reason we know that Nintendo opted out of it last year was because even though they are far from broke, they have more money solely from the video game space than Sony's video game division or Microsoft's Xbox division. They do. They have more money. They have been more successful in doing it longer. So they could afford to do it. However, they chose to save the money. That was one of the main reasons they decided to have the Direct last year instead of a live press conference. So you better believe that no matter how much money Microsoft has in the bank and how well the PlayStation division only of Sony is doing, that if anyone can save the couple of $1 million it costs to produce a live press conference for E3, that they will happily do it. And if they see that there is a benefit, that they don't have to lose the hype and the buzz and the potential revenue generation from having a successful E3 conference, from doing it this way, they will absolutely adopt it. They will have no problem saying, wow, Nintendo showed that you can still get people excited about your product and your games and see massive revenue because of it. And they saved millions of dollars to do it. They didn't have to do it the way we've been doing it for the last 15 years. They're going to adopt it, even if it's just a form of it. I mean, if this really starts to take on, it's going to take a few years, and it's going to take on many shapes before it basically becomes the ultimate form of what it is. I think that those other companies are going to see it. Not to mention, like I said, they might see the benefit of, wow, we can also bring our games. We can bring the next Uncharted in a demo form during E3 to, you know, Best Buys or GameStops or whatever, you know, every E3. We can have people come to experience Sony booths at E3 at GameStops and Best Buy. And Microsoft can say, hey, come play the Xbox One and the stuff that we want to stream to you at an actual location, a retail location during E3. They're going to love that. Everyone is going to love that. Again, if it's seen as successful, everyone is going to see why there's a benefit. They're saving money. They're bringing their games right to people during the show. They're helping generate the hype and the loyal fanship to the companies that they want. You know, Nintendo is a good example of a company that, because they've made so many mistakes over the last year or so, that they are thriving literally on the hardcore gamer and the hardcore Nintendo fan. Sony wants their hardcore Sony fans, and Microsoft wants their hardcore Microsoft and Xbox fans. They do. And they have them, and they want more of them. And they want the ones that exist to be as loyal as possible. And when you do something like what Nintendo is doing, they're reining in and keeping those hardcore fans dedicated and loyal. They want to do the same thing, and that's a huge benefit to them. I want them to do it. I love Sony and Microsoft too. I love the PlayStation. I love the Xbox. I want to see them be successful in the same way. So please throw your nets out, cast your nets and your hooks out, and hook in those other gamers and those fans you have and keep them close. I want you to do that. Granted, they should still love other things out there, but there's nothing wrong with keeping loyal fans loyal, and this is a great way to do it. So how this could evolve over the next couple of years, I don't know. But again, if this is seen as successful, I think that there is a huge precedent and massive potential for, in general, the industry to start bringing us stuff this way. And if you think about it, we win too. This doesn't become worse for the gamer. You know, the gut reaction might be, oh my God, we could lose press conferences. That's terrible. Like, I love the press conferences, and again, I love them too. You know, so if they go away, does that mean E3 becomes bullshit and it becomes not about the gamer and blah, blah, blah? Honestly, I think the opposite is what's going to be true. That's the positive spin and the silver lining I see, is if this does become adopted down the road, it becomes more about us. It literally becomes, we want to give you our games to play during the show. We want to, like I was saying, keep you loyal, dedicated Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo fans loyal and dedicated to us by giving you good shit. Like, that's a win for us. We want to bring you not just one press conference and then a couple of days of interviews because IGN decides to interview us. We're going to give you 3 days of streaming all sorts of cool things and 3 days of announcements. And you can be following on your computer and mobile devices for all 3 show floor days. There's more stuff to come. Here's a new trailer. Here's a new announcement. Here's a new interview being conducted by Nintendo, by Sony, by Microsoft, being controlled by them, saying, here's a shit ton of content instead of an hour's worth of content on one day. That's what it could be. Now, the reason it could fail is if the companies do the wrong thing with it. So Nintendo might not knock this out of the park. Or if they do, another company start to adopt it, they could fuck it up, basically. They could do the wrong things with it. And if that happens, that's a shame. And that'll be on the 3 console manufacturers' back. That's their problem. They will have to make the right or the wrong decisions. I like to think they won't. I think that if this kind of model, no matter what form of it takes over the next couple of years, is adopted, I think it's going to be the right thing, and I think it's going to be a good thing. And ultimately, if it's a good thing, and I think it could take a couple of years, this could be something that takes 3, 4, 5 years before it becomes really feeling like a standard amongst all the, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, Ubisoft, and EA, and whoever else maybe jumps into the ring. Valve will probably do it at some point too with Steam boxes coming out. So, it'll take a couple of years before it does what it does. But if it does, if it's successful this year, and if it's successful down the road, and if everyone loves it, if it becomes just a great new way to experience E3 every year, I guarantee you, we're going to look back at this year, last year, but mostly this year, as the genesis of that. When Nintendo started something new, they said, hey, instead of a press conference, we're going to do something different. We're going to do something cooler. We're going to do something for the gamer, for the loyal, dedicated fan, for the people who love our products and all products in the gaming industry itself. Here's our digital event. That's what we're doing, a digital feature. I think they have a pseudonym. It's like Play Nintendo, and they also have the Nintendo Treehouse, which is a branch of Nintendo, presenting all this stuff to us. They're going to do great things. I think it's going to be awesome, So in summary, after another very long 20-minute conversation about Nintendo and about E3 in general and its potential future, I think that's what's most important, is to just know that this is all really good stuff. It's going to be really exciting to see. E3 is now just 2 months away, man, which is just crazy. Oh, I'm sorry, I can count. It's a month and a week away. It's like 5 weeks for 6 weeks away. I promise I can count. 6 weeks away, E3. Really, really soon. This is great stuff right around the corner. It's going to be really exciting to see how this all plays out. I am just as excited to see Sony and Microsoft take the stage as I am to see Nintendo's digital event. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to. I want Sony and Microsoft to show me tons of great surprise games. Show me Uncharted, show me Halo on stage, all that good stuff. And Nintendo, I can't wait to see what you guys are going to do. The reveal video for this alone was fantastic. It's super viral. You've probably seen it. 5 minutes of Reggie and the Mega 64 guys made a hilarious video talking about why they're going to be doing this. Ooh, excuse me. And I'm telling you, it kind of shows that Nintendo's head is in the game. They know what they need to do. They're doing the right things. They're bringing in the right people. They know what they've got to show us. They can't screw this up this year. And I don't even think they screwed it up last year. But this is a year where they still can't screw it up. I think it's going to be great, So, will this become the future of E3? Will it not? Will this be a slam dunk home run? Will it not? Who knows? I mean, it's going to be really exciting to see, So I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts on Nintendo at E3 this year. Now that we have a really good concrete idea of what they're doing, do you think they're going to bring us the right games? Do you think we're not going to see enough of the right games? What do you want to see? Do you think the digital event is a good idea or a bad idea? What do you think about my thoughts about E3 and the digital event? All that stuff, please share it. We want to hear what that stuff is about. So at the end of the day, like I said, what this all comes down to is I think it's us, the gamers, who win. All right, and as always, that is it today for Nintendo and for E3 2014 news. Really excited. I'm super pumped. I hope you are too. Thanks again for your patience, as the videos are only coming every couple of days now, as opposed to every day. It may still be slow for a while, but again, they will never stop. And eventually, within the next week or two, hopefully I can get back on track with doing several a week. So thanks for your patience. Thanks for everything watching the video on all the Nintendo and E3 stuff. If you like what I'm doing and you like Rule of 2 Review, you can feel free to please subscribe to Rule of 2 Review. It helps me out big time and helps out the channel. And you can like and share the video. You can share your comments and your thoughts about the video below. And thanks for tuning in. As always, I will catch you guys next time.